We turn now to the wildfires exploding in the southwest and the state of emergency in Arizona. The tunnel fire burning for more than 20,000 acres. Kaylee Hartog has the latest.
Whoa, whoa. Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Trust in your word, waiting on the majesty. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. He opened our eyes, all but we glad to see. He's sending floods and fire. Tornadoes and earthquakes is coming alive. He sit in the place, will you survive? He saw us fall and Jacob on the ride. We got the most side. 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 Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. We got the most side. We got the spirit of Joseph for famine is coming. I hope you prepared. He about to seal everybody that's in. The Israelites waking up out of the dead. The prophets wrote about it, how can we hear? Protected by the Father, why should we fear? Psalm 91 is all in my head. 1 and 6, we almost there. This is the season, pray without season. Judging the earth, about to take out the heat. In 400 years, we've been struggling, breathing. Going back home, this time we ain't leaving. Devil is man making war with the saints. Put that in our temple, he know that we ain't. Trusting this system, we know that we can't. Babylon falling and starting to stink like yeah. We know Messiah is coming in here. Destruction is coming, feel it in the air. We got the most high, so why should we fear? Keep the commandments, salvation is near. War without Father, Akbar, they dead. If you live in wicked, then he will not spare. We blow the trumpet, hoping that you hear. We blow the trumpet, hoping that you hear. Look at the tragedy, trust in your word, waiting on the majesty. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. He opened our eyes, all but we glad to see. He's sending floods and fire. Tornadoes and earthquakes is coming alive. He sit in the place, will you survive? He saw us fall and Jacob on the ride. We got the most side. 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 Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. We got the most side. Time is ticking, Messiah is coming. Look at the wicked, they bout to get punished. You saw the children of Israel. Messiah is dragging us out of this hell. He's sending them players, but he gon' protect us. Michael was standing up, he won't neglect us. He threw us away, but he bout to catch us. Recompense, they getting extra. He made a promise to Abraham. Fulfilling his word, we seeing it now. That place where they serve, I'm taking it down. He bout to free everybody that's bound. Why they awaken the rain for the Father? He's sending famines and he's sending lava. All but we know that nobody can stop you. They not repenting like you ain't the problem. Look at the tragedy, trust in your word, waiting on the majesty. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. He opened our eyes, all but we glad to see. He's sending floods and fire. Tornadoes and earthquakes is coming alive. He sit in the place, will you survive? He saw us fall and Jacob on the ride. We got the most side. 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 Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. Look at the world, look at the tragedy. Keep the command, make sure he ain't mad at me. Cause we got the most side. The Torah, we back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. Live up the Torah, we back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. We give you praise. Promise to never go back to my ways. Walking by faith, we gon' walk in your name. Lift up your law, we will but not be ashamed. Set us apart from the world we can't hang. The kingdom inside, they gon' hate when we reign. We been oppressed for so long, we in pain. Narrow the way, we found the lane. We felt the spirit was never the same. Killing the people can't roll with that. He bring them down to Jehoshaphat. Protect your people, be bold with that. The Lion of Judah, he open that. He the only one we can call on, yeah. Cast all your burdens, put all on, yeah. Even when we fall, we gon' fall on, yeah. Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter.
How many in this place? How many of my people can identify as grace? How many of my people made a hit up on face? Conforming to a system yet an enemy at stake. How many in the north? How many in the south? How many in the west? How many in the east? Waiting on the rescue, we eating with the beast. Standing on morality, but fighting for a seat. Renew your mind. There's not much time. You see the signs. Won't tell no lie. Here comes the vine. Who made new wine? He ain't from here. We ain't from here.
Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Gather the tribes again. We bout to rise again. His spirit abiding in it. They try to silence it. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter. Live up the Torah. We back in order. He split the waters. You a son, you a daughter.
Right. All praises to the Most High. All praises to our Elohim. All praises to the Ruach HaKodesh, our mother. All praises to Yahushua, our brother. All praises to our celestial, our angels, our angelic hosts. All praises to our ancestor. All praises to the Mishpachah, the remnant within the remnant, the wheel within the wheel. All praises to our Elohim. So tonight, as we come in and enjoy this time together, we've got a couple other folks here. Normally me and Brother Slav, but we got Brother Leon, Sister Romy. And before we get to bringing things up and edifying as a collective, I want to just bring something to the forefront. There's a lot of people that think that they have wisdom. There's a lot of people that believe that this is the proper system. They believe that we as a group, as a people, are nothing. And yet we see this whole system falling. And it's a beautiful sight. And I know some people might not like that, but that's the case. Because I'm enjoying watching the downtroddenness on the heathen's face. I can't enjoy it enough to see the pains and the suffering of the spirit of these people. Not to say that I am, some crazed individual who says, I just want to see pain. I want to see pain. But some things have to be paid for. And I know that pain and suffering is a cost. It is a balance that must come. I know that is tough for some, but it is what it is. We were dealing with this fella from, I guess, the UK, and he's all up in his feelings about universalism. Well, universalism to me is blameism. It is Eurocentric, Eurocentric blameism. How the Europeans were able to blame everything that they've done onto us, and then some. They were able to say, oh, it wasn't me, it was them. It wasn't me, it was him. It wasn't me, it was her. This whole time, and make their make their history a blur. As if nothing of the 20th century happened, nothing of the 19th century. I shouldn't even use that because that is confusing. Nothing of the 1900s, nothing of the 1800s, nothing of the 1700s, the 1600s, the 1500s, the 1400s, the 1300s, the 1200s, the 1100s matter. Nothing of their history matters. But yet, all of our history is here. All of our history is very clear. There's a people who has been written out of their story, out of their narrative. And today, we're bringing that back. We're showing how our people here on Turtle Island, North, Central, and South, are the people, the original people of the earth. And how everything stems from here. Not there, not the three parts, no, not anywhere over there. Nowhere. If it were, there would be megaliths. There would be ancient topography, but there aren't. All of that is here. Common sense would tell us that this is the oldest place, these lands, not European, Asian, or African. Those names aren't even old. Yet, we're now here being told that these are our land. Who? By who? Our spirit. We're the only people who have to deal with a deity that doesn't look like us, that doesn't deal with us, that hates us. And now that D. Trump is not even a year into he has not even been the president for a year. He has uprooted and steered up all of the demons of these people's lusts. They lusted over our land. They lusted over us. They've given us no justice. They've given us no insight, no hindsight. And they've shown that they today have no might to stop the onslaught of the judgment that's in sight. And that today is why I said it gives me great joy. As they sit around and these heathens seek to be saved from themselves because they murdered Yahushua, said that he saved them from their sin, and today they still trying to be saved. Reason would have it, logic would have it, that they already were saved. All this Christian madness is madness. None of it makes sense. Western history, Western civilization, Western ideology is coming undone. And for us, the remnant within the remnant, the wheel within the wheel, we're great. We feel good with it. as they all are spun out, jacked up, smoked up, you know? And this is why Yasharala is being sanctified for our kingdom to come. Like, what is all this for? This is for us. Why? Because we won. We won. We've won. We are winning. We have won. And they go, well, you know, I don't understand what you niggas always talking about. Dang nabbit, you guys. Listen, don't worry about us. Worry about you and keep our names out your mouth. Because at the end of the day, there's no swaying us. We're not stopping and thinking, well, maybe we're wrong. No, we're not even considering the fact that these heathens are crying a sad, sad song. We're not considering it. There's no rhythm in it. There's no blues in it. There's no harmony nor melody. This is the time of the trajectory of Yasharala, the true 12 tribes of Yasharala, of Jacob, of our forefathers. And every day, as day and day comes and day goes, and night comes and night goes, we get closer to our kingdom, and our boldness, our richness, our wisdom grows. So there is by no stretch of the imagination, no stretch of the imagination that we have not won. So as we go throughout our days, just remember these things, because somebody's got to pay. And in this day, it's not going to be us. We've done our time. We've done our time. And there's going to be a lot of crying, a lot of suffering, and a lot of gnashing of teeth. But do not be weak and fall for the games of the meek or the non-meek, who just want to tell us, oh, well, you guys just, can you help us? Can you do? No, not that we don't want to. We can't. We can't give you our oil. It is our oil, not yours. You have to build your own oil up. That's what all this is about. Who has the oil at the end? Who has run the race to win? And if the heathens think it's them, well, they are delusional from the beginning, from the get-go. So now we all know, we all understand, we all can see. We as a nation, a fledgling, Yasharala, we will all be in our kingdom, a righteous kingdom to come, under our father, our mother, our brother, our angels, righteously. They want to get to heaven. Go. Everybody want to get to heaven, but nobody want to die. You think Bill Cheney, Dick, you think Dickie Boy is in heaven? It's madness. You think Kirky Boy is in heaven? Madness. None of that is true. But what is true is that we're here. We're standing up. We're bringing wisdom. And guess what? We're not even close to being through. It has just begun. And now we're going to bring in the esoteric wisdom from the ages. And if you can't handle this, you might as well leave now, because this is just where we are. We're growing leaps and bounds. We're up the ladder. We're not going back down the ladder. This is Jacob. This is our father's ladder. And every rung that we have gone up, we have seen the light. And we now have the might to endure and persevere to the end. Why? Because we see our kingdom to come. And now, Yasharala, I appreciate you guys. I do. Now we just want to bring forth some more information so that we can benefit you and edify you and, be a part with you of this walk. So all praises to the Most High. And we're going to bring in Sister Romy. There, sis. There she is.
Shalom, shalom,
Shalom.
shalom, nations.
Shalom. Shalom, sister.
So, I kind of wanted to start with this one little thing. I felt it in my spirit for a long time to tell the nation that we're going to have to develop enough high frequency energy so when the two-third in our family is being taken out, we're not, oh my God, what's happening? Why did you do this? Because now we're going against the Most High. So it's kind of like we're going to have to mourn their loss before we actually lose them. So we can mourn them when we do, but not be upset with, the mourning would be, well, the Most High wanted it. And if we go against the Most High any step of the way, we're going to get that curse. So how do we develop that high frequency energy? We've been trying. Well, for the last month, I've been going back in time to when I was learning about electromagnetic energy and the theory of relativity with Einstein and gravity and all of that. I don't believe in gravity. I believe gravity is a symptom. Like the sniffles is a symptom to the virus. Gravity is a symptom to electromagnetic energy. Then I was talking with Chief Katora, and we were talking about, she said something, and I just went into electromagnetic energy because I was already doing the research. And then it hit me. The sun is pure electromagnetic energy, and we have electricity in the house. Those two end up being opposite from each other. Electricity is when they take metal, copper wiring, and convert electromagnetic energy from the sun, sell it to us, and we plug our lamps in and turn our lights on. The electrical grid is blocking maximum absorption of electromagnetic energy by us. Now, the people that have melanin with the coily hair, which is us, there are people in India that's darker than me, but they don't have the coily hair. Well, it's not so much that the melanin is a conduit. It's that the melanin is more like the battery storage to solar panels.
That's right.
Solar panels take in electromagnetic energy, but there's a metal sheet behind it. And that metal sheet captures the energy and stores it in the battery cells. The acid in the battery and the copper wiring that's in the house that's connected to the battery converts it to electricity. And when we're dealing with electricity, what we get is an earth that's disturbed because of the electromagnetic energy being converted to electricity. Electricity is dead energy. That's why if you get electrocuted, you die. But we absorb electromagnetic energy and we store it in our melanocytes. That's the melanin receptors, and only we have it. Brother Moriel, can you blow up the picture that I have as my avatar for a moment? And for those who got their laptop, blow up your screen. This is the picture of the Earth's magnetic field being interrupted. You can see the frown at the bottom. You can see the two eyes. She is angry at what 83 has done to the earth. You could take it down. She's angry because they've not only physically polluted the earth, the air. Now, the other day on Big Levi's Live, I think it was Char J, she mentioned about the air feeling, whatever. Our air is being disturbed because of the ions that's coming from things like car fumes, airplane fumes, whether there's chemtrails or not. Everything pushed out into the environment was designed to take Yasharala down. But because we have melanin receptors that the Most High gave us, coil receptors in our hair, which Hamites don't have coily hair. So that's how you tell the difference over there in Africa, because there's some Shemites over there. And they're the ones with the 5 o'clock shadow, the men, and the full beard. And Hamites ain't got that. So they don't have the hair is the antennas. So, if you're a brother and you bald, I don't know, grow a beard.
You just gotta be covered. That's all you gotta be. You just
right. You know what I'm saying. I'm just joking. But my point is the Hamites and the people in India that are high melanated, they don't have all the receptors because they're not covered under the covenant. So if I was to take two magnets and hold it against each other, 83 calls that resistance. And electromagnetic research shows that it's oscillating electromagnetic energy. There's such a thing as ceramic magnets, because when you put heavy metal with electromagnetic energy, you convert it to electricity, which is dead energy. So they have an electrical grid that's covering from the satellites down, helping to block the electromagnetic energy. In the winter, even melanated people feel dragged because there's less sunlight, less electromagnetic energy. In the summer, there's more. The research shows that melanated people can create heat. And we know the slang from back in the day. When niggas are gathered, they draw heat.
That's right.
That's actually a fact. But they use a derogatory term, so we stay away from powers like that. Biblical is where two or more are gathered, but not two or more of anybody, not even 2/3, two or more of Yasharala, who's under the covenant. We activate electromagnetic energy. That's why they block it.
That's right. And hey, let me ask you something real quick. This whole thing, because what you're saying about heat, right? The our blood pressure, because they're like, oh, well, the blood pressure's got to be, I think it's 140 over 80 or 90 or something like that.
It's 140 over 70. The bottom number has to be directly half of the top number for it to be normal. That's what they say.
That's what I'm saying. So, but there's no normality in those numbers when it comes to us, because one, they poison all the foods and the air and all that stuff. So the blood pressure, our blood pressure is always going to be at a higher level than them. That's why they gave us a bunch of blood pressure medicine, so that they can poison us to hasten in death, not to help us. But go ahead, sis. I just
and he's not saying to come off your medication. What he's saying is, if we were to look at the foods now, under electromagnetic energy, there's called bioavailability energy. That's what we get from foods naturally. That's why everything is bioengineered today, because they want to give us foods that interrupt, frequency of electromagnetic frequency that we would get from plants. Photosynthesis is electromagnetic energy being converted to make the plants green. Again, why in the winter, most plants, the leaves dry up, because they get less electromagnetic energy to keep the photosynthesis going. What photosynthesis is to plant life, melanin is to us at a higher level. So they convince us to use sunscreen, sunblock. They convince us the sun is this. They got us working 9 to 5 when the sun is out the most. They used to have us working near windows. Now they got us in cubicles, because the less sun. Glass does 3 things. It can either have light come through it, which means certain glass, if you stand near it, you're going to get everything the sun gets. That's why they moved us away from glass and put us in cubicles. Glass can also absorb, but not transform the electromagnetic energy. And it can also transform it. Anything that transform it outside of the covenant of the Most High is wicked.
Yep.
So when I was talking with the sister and she said, we finished the conversation on energy, and she got off, and then she texted me and she said, but whatever the manifestation is, it has to be righteous. Exactly. Because you can't use the pure electromagnetic energy for something unrighteous.
You can't. It won't work.
It'll never work. And Brother Sly, I'm glad you typed that in, the pharmakia, because the medication. So there's this thing, and you can check with your doctors. If you're on meds, you can't do grapefruit. But if you eat grapefruit, you'll never be on meds for the rest of your life. So you ask your doctor, why is it that grapefruit doesn't work with medication? They're going to give you some bogus answer. Come home and research. Eventually, it's up to you to use the nutrition. You are going to have to go find bioavailable energy producing foods, organic sources, farm to table, farmers market.
Yep.
I recommend certain things at the fresh market, and any product that's made in either Japan or Europe, because they don't allow bioengineering.
Right. And places like Aldi, they go, oh, well, Aldi's
No.
it's a great place. That place is full of bioengineered food.
No. You got to go to places like the fresh market. And now look, our covenant feast days require top quality food. It doesn't require the schlep of the food. He didn't say bring your unblemished animals. So unblemished means the best. And the reason it requires the best is because you need the best to cleanse the body so it can now attune to a higher frequency. Now, the best way to get electromagnetic energy, the more skin to sun contact, the better.
Yep. And I want to interject real quick. Yeah. The wife was like, yeah, can you get me some grapefruits? I was like, all right, I'll go to the store. So I'm in North Kakalaki. So I went to Publix and Harris Teeter. They didn't have it. They didn't have grapefruits. So I said, what in the world is going on? I can't even get a grapefruit. So I had to go to Sprouts and get and spend some money to get some grapefruit.
Right.
And all of the produce, that's another thing to your point about, the fresh fruits and such, the fresh foods and such. That's the thing about the immigrants. That they brought them in, and if you recall, over the last 5 years, the food quality food has been decent. You can at least find some fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right
now, because they're gone, we're left with the bottom. Just to watch this. The fruit that fell from the tree, not the fruit that's high in the tree, but the rotten fruit that's on the ground. We're dealing with older vegetables. That's why they don't want you to grow your own. That's why you should grow your own vegetables, or the ones that you eat. You know what I mean? Like we eat tomatoes and some cucumbers and such. I try to grow lettuce, but I'm not a good. My thumb is not green, so I do what I can do. But I was looking for, when I go to the store, I already have to think of how much I'm going to spend on quality food.
Everybody got to think like that now.
Right. Can I interject real quick to back
Absolutely.
up Sister Romy's point about the sun? So I'm gonna take this verse, and before I start, say greetings to everybody on the line, and I want to give thanks and praises to the Most High Living Power for bringing us all together here this evening, chilling with the family. So I'm going to take this from the Seeing Gospel of Peace, and then I'm going to give it back to you, Sister Romy. So it says, seek the angel of sunlight, put off your shoes and your clothes, and suffer the angel of sunlight to embrace all your body, and breathe long and deeply, that the angel of sunlight may be brought within you. The angel of sunlight shall cast out of your body all evil smelling and unclean things which defile it, without and within. All the unclean and evil smelling things shall rise from you, even as darkness of the night fades before the brightness of the rising sun. For I tell you truly, holy is the angel of sunlight who cleans out all the uncleanliness and makes all the evil smelling things of a sweet odor. And none may come before the face of the most high living power, who the angel of sunlight lets not pass.
Mm-hmm. All
And
praise to the Most High.
we know the archangel of sunlight is Uriel, and the
Mhm.
angel under that is Oriel, and the angel of the sun is Shemesh. So we have to respect all three levels. And so we understand that the sun is here as a cleansing and an energy
Mm-hmm.
restoration, but non-melanated skin is hard to harness. Melanated skin can harness it and not burn, but only Yasharala can harness, not burn, and use it for manifestation. Because if you're using the two magnets, and I'm like I said, I'm going to get ceramic and hold them together, and that's oscillation. That's not resistance. They want us to think it's resistance because under the prime directive, resistance is futile. So give up. But it's actually oscillation. Now, I can't just be like, oh, this is what I want. I have to use the word of scripture because the Most High is at the other end
Mm-hmm.
of that electromagnetic
That's right.
sphere
The
that we
source.
call the firmament.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep telling everybody, no man, not me or the Pope, can open any portal that the Most High don't want open.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Yasharala can ask the Most High, request many things. We can request that Michael stand up for us, according to Daniel 12, 1 through 4. We
Mm-hmm.
can request that we can be the head and no longer the tail. We can request that we get a new chariot to take our family around in so it doesn't break down on the side of the road and you got little kids that and it's winter. You can request the things that's necessary to do what? To do what he told Moses to tell the Pharaoh what he wanted, which is for us to worship him.
That's right.
So anything that you need, means, which people call money, meat, which people call food, medicine, healing. You need healing powers. These things do come from the electromagnetic grid. We had to go out and activate the ley lines to open up this electromagnetic grid. But they've got an electrical grid over in between the firmament and us. They've got they got more satellites up there than we know what to do with. Half of the things we see moving, who knows what they are if we're not looking directly at it. But there's nothing they can do. Their satellites are not connected to an electrical cord. It's connected to a solar panel and there's a battery there. That battery is putting out electricity. That electricity blocks mental telepathy.
Yep.
But only us will have the power to do mental telepathy because the Most High has to open up a spiritual gate for me to sit in my house when, say, the electrical grid goes down, all of it. I should be able to sit in my house and go, Brother Moriel, can you hear me? And he's going to be like, Sister Romy, is that you?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, yeah. And he'll be like, hold on, I got to go check this. Yo, Brother Sly, he'll be over there and I'll be over here calling somebody else. And then me and Brother Moriel will come back and I'll be like, I'm going to try it on the 2/3. And they probably won't hear me if they're still here.
You know,
if they're still right, 2/3 are going to have to go.
You know, I think that's already happening in a way where there's many times where I'll be thinking something and I'll hit up Brother Moriel, and or I'll listen to one of the shows from the brothers and sisters. So, and I'll be like, wait a second, I was just thinking about that the other day, right? And we're able to connect, and it might not be a full connection, but there's something there because it's happening more and more often. Subject matter will come up, and I'll be saying to myself, I just thought about that yesterday, or I was just thinking about that a few hours ago. So I believe you're correct in your assessment, but I'm just putting it out there. I think that it's already happening slowly but surely.
Sure. No, I agree with that. I agree completely with that. I
And
do,
so,
because I see it too. Go ahead, sis.
yeah, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sis. I was just agreeing with
No,
Brother Wood.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, sis.
Okay, so metal, metal becomes the problem. Um, the the highest conductivity. Conductivity just means using metal to change electromagnetic energy into electrical current. And so you don't want to do that. That's why they have the electrical grid over us, to block out our ability to use the electromagnetic energy to manifest or convert energy. Converting energy, us converting it through the covenant, is called spiritual alchemy. You trying to do it through a spell is called human alchemy, or what they call witchcraft. Electromagnetic energy allows melanin the body to convert the electromagnetic energy into charges that can help us create righteousness as we speak, if we use the righteous words of the Most High during the high phase of the electromagnetic energy charges. One of the ways to get it is to have two magnets, trying to force them together. That's again, that's oscillation. And that's where you can't just say, oh, let me win lottery. You'll win it and end up a crackhead and die.
Right, because you're seeking after mammon. You're wanting to win something. You're
Right.
wanting to win an idol. That's not going to happen.
Now you can say, I wanna serve you more, so help me with a job that gives me Sabbath off.
Or how about this? How about this? Father,
Yeah.
let my debts be away from me on this jubilee.
There
Let
you
me
go.
be debt free in this jubilee. You see?
Or when the magnet is oscillating, Abba Yah, I need a really good chariot. Help me to get a good one, and a good one meaning that for the next 5 years you ain't got to worry about nothing but a new battery. Not these big, issues. No. Abba Yah, allow me to have the means so I can give better feast days. But first, you would want to ask for the elevation of the nation first. Then ask for the elevation of the shalom in your home. There's no peace if you're worried about something breaking down. So you don't have to ask him specifically to fix things or give you things. You just ask that you need these, like he told Moses, I need them to go for 3 days and take some things and worship me. And he wanted good food, good wine, and good song for worship. I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
So they want to block.
Sorry, I was sorry. Can I just interject there real quick?
Sure.
Because I believe what you're saying to be true is that we do need these necessities of life to keep us going while this system is still going, because we know we're operating in this Babylonian system. So to ask for these things, I don't believe it to be detrimental. It would only help us, right, in praising the Most High, getting right, trying to follow the laws and statutes, and giving these people when these people see us now, they start to feel jealous and they start to feel away like, how the hell is this nigga getting all of this stuff? And I lost my job the other day
Yeah.
and I can't got nothing at the grocery and and you know what I mean? And they start getting heart palpitations because they seeing us doing well, right? And that's only because we've put the father first, we've put the mother first, we put the family, the mishpachah first, right? And then when we get these things, we just showing out because it's our father, and not to be cocky with in our
Not to
own will,
boast. That's
not to
right.
boast or brag, but we
Hmm.
supposed to have these nice things, right?
Hmm.
And when
Right.
when you're not in survival mode, now you're able to manifest and um create these beautiful things. And that's why we're going to be so grateful when these people come up off the land, so we don't have to deal with their foolishness, right? And we can come back together and be great once again, because we
Hmm.
really don't know what greatness is. Like we have a glimpse, we could imagine,
Right. We only
we
have a
could,
glimpse.
it's only in the mind's eye, but even that will be skewed because I've only known the Babylonian system,
Right.
Because of
right?
our
So
brainwashing of
Yep.
the Babylonian system to not believe in the power that we have because we think Ish is it, or we thought.
yeah, at one point, but now that's why I'm always saying give thanks and praises to the most high living power, because that's what it is. It's a living power. It's energetic. It's that where you were talking about not photosynthesis, but that energy
Right.
that we're able to produce. And once we're be able to produce good fruits, even though we do fall short, and like Brother Moriel always used to say, we scarcely gonna make it,
Hmm.
we still putting in that good effort. And like Brother Sly had said a while ago, and it still stuck with me, you got to give the Most High something to work with. You can't just be sitting there hand out
Correct.
begging like you ain't got no sense. You know what I'm saying? If we supposed to be the sons and daughter of the Most High living power, then we got to use our faculties to let it be shown that we belong, that we will gain the entrance into the kingdom.
Makes
And
sense.
more to your point is that the more electromagnetic energy we get, right, is the more we connect to the natural circadian rhythm of sleeping, the natural rhythm of Mother Nature, the natural rhythm of the Ruach HaKadosh, who is over Mother Nature, that spirit, the more we connect to the Most High. And it's almost just like Jacob's ladder. There are rungs. Jacob's ladder was not physical, it was spiritual. Angels going up and down, but he was also, he could have climbed up on that ladder spiritually. Maybe he did. I don't know. That we don't have all our scrolls. However, what I do know is that we, under the covenant, can activate the electromagnetic sphere if we can reduce the electrical usage in our home. Because the more things, so if you look at, and I'm, please don't make your life difficult. You ain't plugging out your stove, or you can't unplug your refrigerator. Don't do that. Don't be unscrewing light bulbs that you got to climb up and reach. However, I want you to think about this. You have a lamp plugged in and the switch is off. If you take the plug out, you're going to see two metal progs. Those are what they would use at the bottom of a taser or an electrical prod on a cow or animal if they wanted them to move. The moment you take those two electrical prods and put it in the socket, it's juicing above what the socket is doing. When you unplug it, your socket is still juicing because the current in the breaker system is still running. But the moment you plug in a lamp that you don't have on, you're juicing a little extra. You turn the lamp on, you're juicing more. So if you got lamps in a
Mhm.
guest room that you're not using, unplug it. Now, our laptops, those stay plugged in, even though we shut it down, 8 hours at night. We're juicing. So if you reduced the amount of electricity, dead energy, you can possibly increase the amount of living energy through nature, through Mother Nature, through the Ruach, through the Most High, who created the electromagnetic grid as part of the firmament. It wouldn't be water that's dividing water. It would be an electrical energy. So the first day when he said, let there be light, it wasn't the fourth day with the sun, the moon, and the stars. So spiritual light, electromagnetic energy light. Electromagnetic energy is what's over the ley line grid. And the electricity we use is done in a grid. The opposite of high resistance is electricity. So if you have electricity, you don't have high resistance, you have low resistance to anything. So if you're listening to the news, you find the information sad. I went to this store the other day and I said, oh man, something about the news. And the white lady's like, I don't listen to the news. I said, I do. And she's like, why? I said, so I can know what the Most High is doing. And she looked at me like, yeah, because my frequency says that when I see the wicked being removed, it's the Most High and he's cleansing the earth. Dick Cheney is gone. And like you said, who thinks that he's in heaven is under some serious delusion? Now, white people in particular have no melanin. So they have a high resistance to positive electromagnetic energy. It resists them. It burns them. It makes them want to run from it. In the summer, we come out.
Yep. We get a glow. We get a glisten. We get a radiance.
So the more skin to sun contact, because the skin is the largest organ.
That's right.
You're right though about that. Sorry to interject there.
No, go ahead.
When I was working construction and I had to work outside, actually when I was working in the oil fields, when the summer hit, this is when I was on. Like, I mean, I could go no problem, but as soon as it started to get cold, it was just like I had atrophy. It was difficult for me, but you can see them white boys running around in the cold and they doing their thing with t-shirts, some of them wearing shorts and stuff, and I'm looking at them like, y'all madman. But as soon as that sun hit these people, everything just slowed right the hell down. And the guy had asked me, he said, what is it with you black people? I said, I love the sun. I said, hey, you think it's hot? I'm chilling right now. I'm not even cracking a sweat. And that's to go to your point there, Sister Romy. So that's some real life examples to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a thing called natural radioactivity. It comes from the sun. And if you don't have melanin, you get skin cancer. That's the best way to explain that.
That's proper, and that's true. I mean, if I go out in the sun, which I do every day, but when I go and cut my grass during the summer, I wear something light, like a light colored shirt, and I keep him in a hat, and I keep it moving. And I mean, I'm getting darker and darker, and I'm loving it. And it's hot, but everybody else is doing it, in the evening time. Cutting their yard. And I'm doing mine at noon.
Right,
brother. Let me tell you, I'm cutting my grass up here. I got my toque on, and when the neighbors walking by, they're like, "You not hot?" And I'm like, "No, I'm loving this right now." I got the toque. Even my wife looking at me like, "You're a mad somebody." I'm like, "No, I'm loving this." So that's to show you the resilience of our melanin. And just to back up Sister's Romy point again.
Right.
Yeah. And let me add this, sis. Let me add this.
Okay.
So every time that I'm doing and it never fails. Every time that I'm cutting my yard in the middle of the day, for some reason, which is not some reason, the Father always sends a nice, cool breeze. So that breeze or that wind takes away. It's like so as the sun is heating up my skin, the breeze is cooling it off immediately. So it's this engine that's just keeping me very, very, very comfortable.
Well, that's because you're under the covenant, because to be able to harness the electromagnetic energy, it wouldn't work for the 2/3, even if they took the magnets and did all the experiments that I'm going to do. It's not going to work for them, because the activation of the ley lines that we did on the Big Levi, the activation of portals that we're trying to do, the activation of the Brucker loop can only be activated by the use of the word that the Most High puts in scriptures, which is not New Testament. New Testament is a testimony, and they've messed up that testimony. And just a side note for all the newbies coming in, you've been fed so much New Testament. Put it away and get into Torah, get into the scripture and the Apocrypha. Start there. Then you can go into other secular material, and you'll be able to identify what belongs to us and what doesn't. So for now, I'm getting the activation, the download to understand the electromagnetic energy, because I already felt that that's how it existed from the time I was watching Star Trek at the age of 15. So if I'm getting it from Hollywood at first, then I go into the field of criminal justice, where you study phlebotomy, which is the study of blood, and somehow our blood, not Hamite blood, but so-called Black American blood, and you can identify that as Shemite, is always more interesting to them than any other group, because that's what we worked with in a criminal justice school. So now, coming years now, today, I went to college in the 80s. Do the math. So today, I'm absorbing the electromagnetic, and AI is just spitting the truth out, and I got to screenshot it, because if I don't, the next time I go around, it's going to tell me something. So sunlight, ultraviolet radiation, this is what you were talking about, Brother Leon. It can ionize, put iron in the air. It can ionize air molecules, particularly in the upper atmosphere. However, when the ultraviolet radiation hits a melanated, coiled person, they get charged. To be able to supercharge, you need a covenant contract with the person that created the electromagnetic energy. That is the Most High. Nothing can be done without him. However, if we under the covenant now understand the powers that we have by, say, reducing the electrical consumption in your home. Now, we looked in the conversation, we looked at, well, what's the worst that can happen? A lower electric bill.
That's right.
Gee, is that going to hurt?
Saving money.
Right. Is that going to hurt you? No. And then the money you save to activate your Brucker loop, you go buy a fantastic meal for the next feast day. Not for the next Sabbath per se, not for the next day, but store it up for a feast day, not for storing up in your home. That is a no-no. When you start storing up stuff in your home, you telling the Most High you don't trust him to provide for your needs. So I'm a stockpile. No, shop smart. But if you get a reduced electric bill because you're trying to reduce the consumption of negative energy so you can activate more electromagnetic energy, well, the worst that can happen is that you have a lower electric bill so you can afford a little more somewhere or save a little nickel for maybe the menorah that you got to get.
Mm-hmm.
See, you can't save money and not give it to the Most High first. And to do that is not to do what Tyler Perry did. When Tyler Perry gave that 100K, he did that to put fear in people. For the 83, the Blassos, the fear is if you leave Christianity, you won't be blessed. Even for us in the nation, the fear is if people thought this, and I felt the energy, oh my God, look at the money he's giving. And we're over here, what? No, we're not starving. We're not
Mm-hmm.
poor. We actually are now trying to activate our broccolute. Part
That's
of
right.
that is removing whatever is designed to block our energy flow, whether it's through the food. When we were eating pork, we were not connected.
Mm-hmm. No, that's why so the everything about our scriptures and about our walk it culminates to the sanctification of Yasharala. That sanctification is key, where we're being separated from, of course, the people, separated from evil intent, evil thought. We're being separated from rotten food, rotten people. We're being separated, sanctified to be able to be purified so that we can be charged, supercharged. Because again, as we stand as mighty people, as mighty men, as mighty sons and daughters of Zion, these people have to be seen. They have to see us and be jealous.
Right.
They can be like, what? Remember, what's it say? What's that? These are the people? These who we have had in derision and proverb of reproach? These?
Yeah,
Them
it was us. It was us.
It
That's
was
right.
us.
It
That's
was us.
right. It was us.
Right.
Right.
And you're
Right.
right.
the people, right.
That's right. So when you
And
talk
so,
about, go ahead, Sister Romeo.
no, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Brother Leon.
So I was saying when you need to watching the food, you also got to watch your company and what you're looking at, right?
Mhm.
Because they're trying to rob your peace,
Right.
and you will not be able to manifest if you ain't at rest. And that's the
Mhm.
truth. Is that you need to be at,
I meant to say that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Repeat that again, Brother Leon.
Mhm.
What did I say? You can't manifest if you're not at rest
If you're not
and
at peace,
at
right?
peace, right? So you need to have peace,
Mhm.
right?
And
So
you need to know that the electrical energy that's flowing, first of all, like I said, if you unplug the lamp, the circuit is still flowing energy. That's negative energy. And I
Mhm.
think that's why. So if you think about it, when a couple want to be romantic, what do? They cut the amount of lights. They light candles. When we have our feast days, we're required to light a 7 lampstand menorah. We're required to do that. We're required to blow the shofar. The silver
Mhm.
trumpets are generally blown in heaven, because wherever I've read silver trumpets, it's in heaven. The shofar is to be blown for war, for peace, and at the full moon. It says, blow the trumpets. Now, they
okay.
changed it to trumpets there
So
in
that's
Psalms 81, verse 3. But the shofar itself has a frequency of its own that when you're using the breath of a Yasharala man, not the breath of a woman or anyone else, but a man under Yasharala covenant, that's a different frequency than anybody else blowing it. But we don't know these things because they've been taken away from us.
Mhm.
can I give an example of how that actually worked? So we had the Halloween, right? So it was Halloween, and I said, okay, it's on the Sabbath now, and I'm at home, I'm relaxing, I'm having some lamb, and for 2 hours, I blew the shofar. I found something on YouTube with a melanated brother, and I blew that shofar. Not a single soul knocked on my door
Mhm.
asking about no trick or treat and gave me some peace. right? It gave me some peace. That's what I did for that Halloween part there. I did my little prayers. I sent out my intentions, and then I just sat there for 2 hours blowing that shofar, and not a single soul knocked on my door, but I could see them walk in, going to the next door neighbor and doing their thing. So, Sister Romy, then again, we just proving your point.
And
In
that's
real
why I
time.
say you got to look up a shofar playing, preferably with a picture of a brother. It does matter. It really does. There's one I found. It was, you couldn't see the person, but they had too much Jesus Christ across the screen. So I was like, every time I looked at it, it creeped me out, and I couldn't do it. Then I found one with a brother. So again, the resonating frequency is like, an example is you're sitting quiet and then you start playing a record, and somehow your shoulders start moving without you being aware. Miles Davis was asked, do Black people have rhythm because of the trauma they went through slavery, whatever? And he said, no, it has nothing to do with trauma. He said, for some reason, white people are just behind the rhythm. Okay. Right. So we resonate natural rhythmic movement with the electromagnetic energy. So when King David finally figured out through the Most High how to move the ark successfully to the temple, well, the tabernacle, because the temple wasn't built yet, he ended up what? Dancing not out of his whole clothes. Men wore a tunic and then a longer tunic and then a robe. He probably took off the outer tunic and had the inner one on, but he danced because that was a frequency of knowing that the Most High accepted his learning how to handle the ark. So we have to learn the Most High's word and then use that word to the Most High to activate it. Now, what does the electrical grid do? It stifles the positive energy in us. And so we end up harping on, triggers, for example. None of us should have any more triggers. If you do, I'm going to tell you what part of it is. What does the ions that's formed from electricity do versus what the ions formed from the sun does? What the ion from the sun does, it does atmospheric cleanup. Natural ions help clean the air by attracting and removing pollutants and other particles. Well, our cars, our planes, boats and trains, they're changing more to electric. The problem with electric cars, you're blocking the electromagnetic energy that comes through the windshield. That's why cars feel good when it's cold outside and the sun came through and it's warm, because glass is a better thing than metal. Okay. Global electric circuit, they play a role in the Earth's global electric circuit by carrying electric charge through the atmosphere. The global electric circuit is the electrical grid over the entire Earth now.
The global electrical circuit?
Yes, is the electric grid. And what that does is it plays a role in the Earth's natural global electric circuit by carrying electric charge. Where do you get electric charge from? Electricity through the atmosphere. If it's carrying electricity, we're talking the electrical grid now, because the electrical grid on Earth is playing the role of the sun's electromagnetic energy.
Right. Keeping us away from
the electromagnetic energy.
Exactly.
And keeping us under electric energy. So then I realized, well, electric cars are no good. Because now you're charging through, and so why they added lithium battery. If you look at car crash tests today, all cars with lithium battery, certain accidents, the car just blows up. And the reason for that is for us. That's to destroy everything that they create is either to make them live forever or exterminate us. And it's working backwards, especially now that we've woken up and the curses have been transferred to them. So I get rest to manifest all this information about the electromagnetic energy that comes from the sun. Okay, so they want to pollute the air, and they do with the industrial pollution, the cars exhaust, the planes that, you know, people call that chemtrails. Well, no, that's just what we call biochemical warfare, and they put that out. But our melanin absorbing sunlight, that's why one of their biggest things is to try to block the light of the sun. Okay, now what happens when we get natural ions, which is iron particles from electromagnetic, versus ions from electrical current? When we get it from the sun, we activate our enzymes through melanin only.
Right.
So if you want to lose weight, more skin to sun contact. If you want to heal what aches you, whether it's arthritis to a bum hip, I know when I get that heat from the car, I know my leg feels great. And I'm realizing because glass does three things with electromagnetic energy. It can give you more of it. It can make it pass through, and so it just dissipates in the air, or it can capture it. That's what glass will do. I had to look at different materials. We'll get to that. Electromagnetic energy itself is pure energy that has no mass or charge. It is composed of oscillating electric and magnetic fields and travels in discrete packets of energy called protons. We absorb the most protons. That is a superpower that we cannot use because we have an electrical grid over us. So the moment we think we have a power, somehow negative energy comes in and gives us. And when I say negative, I don't necessarily, I mean dead energy from electricity.
Right.
Negative energy is not a bad thing. It's the opposite of positive. But when I'm using negative, I'm using electrical energy. Okay.
Yeah. And the electrical energy that's around. See, and this goes back to what I've been saying. Goshen. What is Goshen? Goshen is the electrical energy, the electromagnetic field around us. Why? Because the heathens can't get to it.
Right.
The heathens can't go through that. What do we think the kingdom's going to be made of? We think it's going to be made like this is why, you know, everyone needs to really, heathen and Yasharala, we all really need to take a step back and really look at what this is all meaning. A righteous kingdom in a situation where negativity and evil cannot get to is a beautiful thing. That is so beautiful that, I mean, do we want to continue to work? Do we want to continue to be beholden to the heathen political system? Have they done right? Their heathen religious system, have they done right? That's what I'm saying. So yes, and I'm listening, and I'm just sitting here listening to what you're saying and playing it in my head for the kingdom and what it looks like for Goshen. And everything that you're saying it reminds me just of a dome, like a dome in the middle, some sort of field in and around us. It goes the halo, right? A dome around us where Even the flat tops of Nazca down in South Africa. I mean South Africa, South America, where those things were flattened. Now, how could a dome, some sort of energy particle? They're like, oh, spaceships. Well, energy, right? Could have done the same thing and been placed on it because of how vast that is, how large a space that was, like a city, a dome, or something that was there. I don't know. I'm just thinking. But go ahead, sis. My bad.
No, because mass events that draw crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've always had a negative aversion to that. Like I could go, but I can't stay. So then I don't go again. And they're harnessing energy, but they're harnessing it from a negative perspective, especially when it comes to either the gladiator sports or the music entertainment with the skank, skeezers, and hoes and pimps. Okay, you know that we had conscious rap.
Yep.
That was making us ask questions and seeking answer and getting education. And they said, oh, hell no. They can't start to learn. We're going to come up with gangster rap. Well, gangster rap said F the police. And we was happy. And so we was still resonating high. They said, hell no. Gangster rap need to be hoochie rap. And now they rap about chains, you know, gold chains and garbage.
The base.
That's
the base.
Right. That's to keep the Babylonian
energized. That's just
the delicacies. That's to keep the Babylonian delicacies to look tempting to the two-third and 83.
I wanted to bring an example to what you just said about being in the crowds, because I feel the same way. I can't stand going to concerts and that type of stuff. I just hate being in crowds. I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable. And I'll give you for instance. So we were celebrating our anniversary, and we ended up staying at the hotel, and they had a casino downstairs. So I said, all right, let me go down to the casino, because I said, okay, let's just go. It's not really something that I like to do. So we went down there and we started walking through the casino, and I'm telling you, people were just disturbed. I was feeling disturbed as well too, but I could see in people's face like, nigga, you ain't supposed to be here. Right? You don't belong here. What are you doing? You're messing up my time. Right? And I looked at my wife. I said, are you good? Because I'm good. Because I don't feel like gambling, and I don't feel like doing any of this stuff here. And I said, it's time to go. And I could tell you, as soon as I stepped foot in that casino, it just smelled like loser. It just smelled like low life. No life.
That's two things that's operating within you. That's the spirit of the Most High telling you you don't belong here. And that's you sensing the energy drain from the people who feel they belong there. They're losing their shirt or they're winning. It doesn't matter, because when you win what you ain't supposed to have, you'll end up doing something you shouldn't do. So you were feeling a positive and a negative energy, what we call oscillating within you, while you felt like, I got to get out of here. I don't feel right. We have to know that when the spirit is operating in us and we acknowledge it. Now, electromagnetic radiation, particularly high energy forms, listen to this, like X-rays and gamma rays, can interact with matter enough to remove electrons from atoms. Well, when I went and looked further, it said only melanin can absorb X-ray. And now don't go in for your X-ray and tell them you don't want the lead vest. The lead vest is a heavy metal that converts an X-ray, which is pure electromagnetic energy, into electrical energy so it can snap a picture. And again, they're using a heavy metal. So we don't want to use metal when we're in the sun, unless it's 24 karat gold or sterling silver.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to use when we're in the sun are the rocks and the stones, like the turquoise stones. And I was watching Big Judah, and I'm listening to him, and I see the turquoise, and I had to pause the video, and I was like, hold on. And then I went right into the research, and the stones and the rocks absorb enough pure electromagnetic energy. It does not convert it to electricity like copper. And then it clicked. No wonder they use copper wiring in the house
That's right.
for electricity. And what copper wiring does, it takes electromagnetic live energy from the Most High and converts it to dead energy. And that's why you can't stick a knife in an electrical
That's
socket.
right. Mm-hmm.
You'll die. When lightning comes from the heavens through the electromagnetic firmament that separates the water, because you don't use water to separate water from water.
Mm-hmm.
You use a firmament, which is electromagnetic. When lightning comes through the firmament from the portal that Enoch says it comes from and hits the ion in the Earth's atmosphere that is put out because of electricity and pollution, that electromagnetic lightning is converted to electricity, and when it strikes a tree or a person, it kills them.
That's
So
right.
electromagnetic energy, if it was pure and came through as lightning and didn't change, it wouldn't kill a melanated person, because our receptors would suck it in and hold the energy, and we would get supercharged. But we can't.
Supercharged. That's right.
We can't because of the electrical grid. We're getting charged right now because of the covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can add more electromagnetic energy in the home by, one, reducing electrical consumption, unplugging things you don't use.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you use it once a week, like a blender, unplug it.
Mm-hmm.
What the worst that'll happen is a lower bill. The
Right.
best that can happen is that when you bring the magnets in the home. Now, I've had a few sisters in the Shemesh group. They started doing it. One is in her room alone. She said it was the first night she slept without, when she woke up, she was refreshed. Refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
So
see, I want to add something real quick.
Go ahead.
Because see, this is the time where the Father told us to rest, to be quiet, to stay, be still, and rest, so He can do what? Heal us. So this whole thing that we're talking about is about healing at this point.
Yep.
Because we as a nation have to be healed. We have to grow. So, and we have to have rest to do that. A lot of people, this is why they don't give us rest. They don't allow us to rest because they want us to not be healed. When we rest, and if we start to understand our esoteric manifestations and physical manifestations in our rest, but basically what Romy's talking about tonight with the magnets, understanding our electromagnetic and how melanin and how melanin works under the covenant, because the covenant is the key anyway, because
right.
the Father said that He was going to heal us. So if we're going to be healed, we have to do certain things. We can't sit back and be like the heathens and say, you ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. You got
to put in the work.
Yeah,
right.
the laws are done away with. You don't have to celebrate the Sabbath, but now you can see why it's important to be celebrating the Sabbath.
That's right.
And keep doing what you need to do. And I just want to throw this in there. Wasn't that in the Book of Remembrance when it was talking about the Eric? Was it the Erikadoshi or the which one?
The Erikadoshi, yeah.
They were saying which ones were the bad ones, were the ones like the minerals like copper, coal, electricity, iron. So if we go back and look at those, we can see how much bigger this really was when you start talking about that electrical grid, and then all the things that are used to make electricity, coal, which is to conduct the electricity, the copper, all these different things, the plastics, the gasoline, to pollute the air, all these different poly, this and that. So those are
Mm-hmm.
what the plastics,
The plastics. Yep.
right, that we consume, and this all came out from the ground, and all of these were in the book of remembrance. These were these entities that were against us.
Yep.
Right. And so non-ionizing electromagnetic field. It sounds like a big word, but I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, what it says it is. Those are fields with less energy, such as those from power lines.
That's why we went to buy our house, and there was this one house that was I liked it a lot, but I mean, it had power lines all over top of it. I was like, I cannot buy or live in a house next to or close to in any proximity of power lines. So we found one a little further out. But at the end of the day, those power lines is what's killing people right now. And matter of fact, it's what's killing them.
Correct.
It's what's killing the heathen. And they don't even know it. They don't even pay no attention to it.
Because if they were under the covenant, what would happen is they would never end up buying a house there, even if they weren't walking in the covenant at the time. The Most High, again, you always know that he knows the end from the beginning. So he knows who's going to end up wherever you are. That's where you're supposed to be. Now, if you're under the covenant, I wouldn't have never, I could have came up with, I don't know, at 15, Star Trek, electromagnetic versus gravity, questioning it. I would have never came up with any of this if I wasn't under the covenant. The Most High ain't giving this to the heathens.
Wasn't we talking about that the other day, Brother Morel?
Yep.
We were saying it's all these little things that happen throughout our lives that stick with us, and we're like, it seems like a useless memory up until recently, up until now, where you're like, oh, okay, that seed was dropped there in 2002, and now I'm thinking about it today, and it's actually helping me put the puzzle pieces together. So you are correct again, Sister Romy, with the Most High putting us where we need to be, and him knowing the end from the beginning.
Right. And so if these fields with less energy, such as power lines, well, what is the result? It can disrupt electrical equilibrium. In what? Because it's not electricity that is disrupting electrical equilibrium. I mean, it's electricity that's disrupting electrical equilibrium, but it's not the electrical in the equilibrium. So
that sounds like it's disrupting in the brain.
Okay. But
Right?
for who? For those who lack what? The melanin receptors. So even, I think it was Jane Elliott, she said all religions, which is pagan, were created by brown eyes and black hair melanated people. So non-melanated, he didn't even come up with the idea of religion. And the original Spaniards and Romans were mixed with Moors. That's how they learned our stuff, because Moors are Judah. Okay, now let's get an example of power line and interruption. In living organisms, us, plants, whatever, these fields can move charged particles within the cell, disrupting natural electrical balances. That's what power lines do, especially to non-melanated, and now to the melanated not under the covenant. So the covenant is what is going to be the main thing for us to be able to move within a higher electromagnetic field, with solar flares being activated, with 3i. 3i is charging up every time it stops at a planet, everything in the universe. And for us, it's called our aura. That's our electromagnetic field around us. But again, it gets squashed with the electrical power grid. Now, melanin is a negatively charged pigment that binds to metal ions. So that's why our skin doesn't crack when we age.
Right.
Because the largest organ is your
The
skin.
Mm-hmm.
And melanin is how we get. So how we get more melanin is through the electromagnetic sun to skin contact.
Mhm.
When I say sun to skin, that's electromagnetic energy directly to the skin.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you go out and ground your feet, the earth has electromagnetic energy. It's not as highly charged because Kabodiel needs some of it. The trees,
Mm-hmm.
the rocks, they absorb it. When we go out and stand directly in the sun, our melanin is absorbing what we call natural ion uptakes. That's why we have more muscle mass. Melanin is a negatively charged pigment. So when you add a positively charged ion from electromagnetic energy, you get charged up.
Yep. Yep.
They
You get
don't
charged,
have
recharged.
right. They don't have that battery source to charge up non-melanated.
No. So as we get charged up, let's say when we were under the curses and we were being charged, we were getting charged up. Maybe that's why they were charging us up. Maybe that's why they were
Because they were
creating,
juicing us.
right, because they were juicing. That's right.
They were juicing our energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's funny that you say that because um homeboy there, Conscious Jew came out with a video not too long ago. I think it was today or yesterday, where they were talking about white people taking liquid melanin. And I remember as soon as he said that, the first thing that flashed into my mind is they had that serial killer there in what's it called, Atlanta, back in the 80s, I believe it was, and they was finding all
The
these
black
kids.
dude.
Yeah, the black dude, and they was finding all these kids. Well, I'm not sure if it was him or not, but I was young at the time too, so they were saying that they were finding these kids all withered out. They were dead, you know what I mean? Because their skin was looking ashy, like they were sucking out the melanin. But
Mhm.
anyways, back to
He
the
was
video.
he was selling melanin.
Yeah, and that's what they doing now. They selling melanin in the body. They keep these white girls saying, "Oh, if you want to keep your tan right longer or be able to without getting the harmful UV rays, you just eat this, right? You dip it, you drop it in the water." And I'm thinking to myself, well, where they getting all of this from? Could it be the industrial prison complex? Could it be just picking up
Mm-hmm.
random children off the street? You know, and that's
Yeah,
what was
draining.
happening.
So if there, so for example, to what you're saying is they're draining the melanin sacs.
That's right. And
Okay, but
they're
if
selling it.
they don't have melanin sac, they're not storing it.
Well, they're not trying to store it. They're just trying to get it because the
But
heathen
no, you
is a
gotta.
foolish.
So melanin has um particles in it, and if you don't store it, you can't get the benefit. You have to store it to get the benefit. That's why that's so when you think about it, in the winter, dark skinned people and light skinned people with melanin get lighter because it's less sun. We're not storing it. We're not storing it up. When we get darker, our sacs get full. They don't have sacs to fill up. So and I already did that. It doesn't go anywhere for them.
Right.
So what they're doing is, again, they're poisoning themselves. For example, the tanning beds is causing an uptick in skin cancer for them.
Right. Right.
So even if they're in the sun naturally or using tanning beds, it's backfiring. And these are the days when anything they do will backfire.
Yep.
Because the Most High will curse that thing.
Yep. Yep. We've been there. We've been there, done that. So yeah, absolutely.
Right. So their uptake of liquid melanin, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that was, well, they don't have the sacs to store it. So that's going to end up being an iron particle in their blood. That's not a good thing because the blood is already enriched with iron. So
I think that they tried to synthesize it more so than use it per se. They want to synthesize everything because it reminds me of Pharmakia, right? They
right.
what's that movie? Me and Sly, we looked at this 88, I think, Serpent in the Rainbow. They found the zombie drug for their for anesthesia, and they wanted it so that they can synthesize it so that they can create, drugs off of it. It's kind of the same thing with melanin.
I
Where
mean,
they want to use it, synthesize it, and then inject it into themselves to try to
right.
gain.
Like they take a herb and instead of you making tea or a tincture, you dry it out and then you bleach it out and then you turn it into a pill. And it's no longer the original source
That's
Right.
for healing you. It's now a source that's gonna kill your kidneys.
Right.
That's not the first time I've heard them trying to use melanin as well. I've heard somewhere that when they were trying to send these rockets up into space, without them burning up, they would spray it down with some kind of liquid melanin or something, because that was the only thing that could actually absorb that amount of intense heat without having this ship burn up.
Again, another use of us to try to benefit them to do
Right.
what? Escape. And
And
it's
then
not gonna happen.
no,
It's not gonna happen.
and they were saying that the melanin is even more expensive than gold,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And there was something, a Hebrew man would be more precious than gold. I don't know where I heard that. I've seen that somewhere. And I'm wondering if that's pertaining to the melanin.
Right. It's pertaining to the whole thing: labor, melanin,
Right.
opportunity, understanding, knowledge, wisdom. Yeah.
Skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did come prepared, Brother Morio.
I know you did, sis.
Here's where they can do nothing with liquid melanin. Okay. So melanin acts as an energy transduction. What that is the process of converting one form of energy into another. This conversion is essential for many biological processes, such as when an organism, like us, converts light energy, that's electromagnetic energy, into chemical energy. For example, when we convert the melanin into a chemical energy that absorbs the UV radiation, doesn't give us skin cancer, but makes us feel more relaxed when at rest, you can manifest. That's converting into chemical. They can't convert the melanin. They need the receptors. The receptors are more than just holding it. It's the conversion process. Common examples include photosynthesis in plants, the conversion of sound waves to electrical plants, and then they get in further deeper into the study of melanin being the greatest form of energy transduction. That is taking electromagnetic energy through the skin, storing and processing it in the melanin sac, why we get darker, and then being able to, the first law of energy transduction is thermodynamics, creating heat. Again, where we draw heat.
Say it again.
Where niggas are, we draw heat.
Oh, right.
White people don't create thermodynamics. We do.
Right.
Biblically, where two or more are gathered, where the Most High is and the energy is. What
Mhm.
energy? The
Yeah.
electromagnetic
Kinetic
energy that
energy.
is in our aura, stored in our melanin sac through the process of melanin. So, melanin begins to play a big role in what we call cellular repair.
Right. Repairing the cells. Right. Again, goes back to healing. Like,
Physician, heal thyself.
that's right.
White
Goes
people
back to
can't do
healing.
it.
They can't do it. Hence why, and I left this comment up from Deborah, because it was interesting, because when you look at the makeup that they use, they making all types of chemicals and stuff in the
Right.
makeup. It's always about trying to stay young. But it's interesting because you're starting to see a lot of their faces beginning to shrink, like it's like a squeeze, like a prunish kind of,
Right.
and they're trying to utilize this makeup to be able to be youthful, if you will, right? But it's not working. It's making it worse, and now that they're under the curses, now you're starting to see who they truly are. The jaws are becoming more defined. The brow is becoming more defined. We're starting to see these things. The makeup is not really showing. It's not really hiding much anymore. And the sisters of Zion, the daughters of Zion, aren't using that much anymore. So all these things are changing. They're beginning to. This is what we were talking about earlier, Leon and Slide. The exchange, the full on exchange of situation. That doesn't mean just exchange from the head to the to the top, the head to the tail. It also is exchanging situation in all things, in healing, in wisdom, in communication, in everything that we all our five senses, a complete exchange of situation of the five senses, because we as a people have been under a Eurocentric worldview for so long that our five senses has been dulled by way of this anarchy against us in the self, as self, against ourselves. So I just wanted to add that. Go ahead, sis.
No, that's
It's perfect.
absolutely correct.
That's perfect because especially now with everything that we seeing in the skies and Three Eye Atlas,
Hmm.
behind the sun, and just the sheer panic, and they can't hide it anymore. And that's um that's what I was when I was talking to y'all not too long ago about that three body problem. Um, that movie there from Netflix, right? And in that movie there was a scene in the first episode. It's a series actually. It's not a movie. But in the first when I was watching that the first go around, I really didn't understand it. But once we started talking about Three Eye Atlas and it kept going out on social media, Spirit said, "Why don't you take a look back at that three body problem, right?" And in that first, I think it's the first or second episode, they were trying to make contact with interstellar beings. So they were shooting, um, they were using a satellite dish to send out a signal. And they end up, one of the characters in the episode said, "Why don't we use the sun to boost the signal?" It says we can use the sun as a super antenna so that our message would get out further. And it says that the sun, it's not just reflecting, but it amplifies the signal. So when they were shooting that beam at the signal, it was amplifying it. And the signal from the sun, and then he said something in there that was pretty telling, was the signal from the sun was a million times stronger than that from Jupiter. So I said, why would they say that? Million times stronger that of Jupiter. So then I end up Googling Jupiter, and the Romans and the the Greeks would use Jupiter as Zeus or use him as Father God. And then that reminded me you can't go before the Father unless you go through the Son,
Right.
right? So that had me think about that. And then that three body problem, when I thought about that, I said, okay, that makes more sense. The three body problem is actually the Most High, the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and the Son,
Right.
right?
That's right.
So what I believe is, or what I think, and the download that I got is that three eye atlas is behind the sun, amplifying its frequency,
Mm-hmm.
right? To go to Sister Romy's point, the sun is used to activate our DNA, right? Our melanin. It's also used as a cleaner, right? With the ultra UV ray. So when you talking about these people being swept up off the land, they definitely gonna be swept up off the land. They gonna have them boils, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's that
And that's from the sun.
that's from the
S-U-N.
sun,
Wait,
right?
hold that point, but that's from the beginning to the end, or the end to the beginning.
Right.
That's the leprosy.
Mhm,
Right.
You see that?
right.
What you just said. Go ahead, Go ahead. Keep going. I just had
So
to
I
interject.
wrote, no worries, man. So I wrote down that the sun kills bacteria, and the ultra UV rays does that. And then I was moving on to the other there was another one called the Destroyer. So the title of that episode was called the Destroyer, and the first picture that you see is you see um Shiva, the Destroyer. So Shiva is the female goddess. Shiva is a major Hindu god who is associated with the opposing idea of destruction and regeneration. As evidence of Shiva's stature, the god is often depicted as a male or female at once, indicating that Shiva is above and outside the physical world, beyond human limitations. But what really got me was that she dishes out the destruction, but also regeneration. What did we just talk about? Healing ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they had that statue right at the beginning of of the show, and then, or on the second episode, or whatever the episode that's called the Destroyer, and then the guy goes into CERN, right? So the what is it there? CERN is the also it was they had a picture of the EU Council for Nuclear Research. It was CERN, and then they had a picture, or one of the policeman who was doing the investigation. He went into CERN because one of the scientists had committed suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and the gentleman that was there, the other policeman, was saying to him, "What made you think he had committed suicide?" And the way how he was positioned in they showed him how he died was he was face down in a tub and kneel in a kneeling position. And the police end up saying, well, maybe she knew just what kind of misery the world is about to face. And I said, well, look at that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you
Yep.
you show a picture of Shiva, the destroyer, and the regenerator, right? And then you show this guy dying and saying maybe she just knew the kind of misery that the world is about to face.
That's
And
And
right.
then that
and
go
we sorry.
and that goes into I think Big Levi had put it on his shoulder of all these people running into their bunkers. Well, you talked about it today. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about it sometime today. They're running in the bunkers,
Yep.
right? I think Big Judah also had mentioned it too, that these guys are running to military bases, trying to hide themselves from what's coming. So they already know what time it is, and they forever gonna lie to the end. So we know that we'll never get the truth out of these people because they've been lying so long, and
Mm-hmm.
now that the lie can't stand, and it's just like when you're in darkness too long, you can't stand the light, and it's just the
Right.
same with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You lying too long, and then the truth just knocks you over
Yep.
easily.
Yep. That's
And I
right.
mean, the fear that is out there on 83 is at such a high energy level because They're either trying to escape, whether
Mm-hmm.
through rapture or a rocket, or
Mhm.
they're hiding in bunkers,
Mhm.
because it means that what is coming on the earth is going to be a problem for them. And then what is going to happen to them when the rocks fall on them.
Mhm.
Now, for us, the more we connect to the electromagnetic energy, the more we activate that firmament that they can't crack around us through the
Mhm.
covenant and through the use of cleaning our bodies, our spirit, our
Mhm.
energy, our soul, our mind.
And that's Goshen.
And that's
Right.
why, everything is manifold, and that's why, at the beginning of 2020, when Sister Pat was out there doing the talking about cleaning up and working on your shadows, is because
Mhm.
what's ever coming through, right? And that's changing our bodies. And
Mhm.
I know
Mhm.
that we're privileged enough because we're out in the forefront. So everything that's happening, we're not phased by it. So I know we have been assigned
Mhm.
our position. It's
Yep.
just, are you gonna keep running the course even though you're
Right.
tired?
Right.
Right? And that's why it was important that we learned these lessons on how to clean up our own shit within ourselves, because once you get these downloads, and this purifier is going to clean up the rest of the remnant of whatever's lingering in our brains and our body. But once
Mhm.
you get that power, the minute you go back to what you used to do. Now you just like the fallen angels. Could you
Right.
imagine they would want to get back to their station, now
Mhm.
living in degradation
Right.
down here? And it's the same with us. Again, we don't really know exactly how far we've fallen. Um, but in our mind's eye, we might think we know, but I don't think we can fathom it, because once it starts peeling away more and more and more, and I believe that this sun is going to do it once Three Eye Atlas does what it needs to do. And I believe whatever's coming through is going to come through on the new year, right? Because 2026 ain't looking too good for none of these jokers over here,
None. None.
right? And it's the same here in Canada. I mean, most people is all about that money, 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 right? Because you got that mark in your beast, or the
Mhm.
mark of the beast in your hand and in your forehead, and that's all you really looking about. But the money not gonna save you, right? These people, we have overinflated housing over here, where something that you can get in North Carolina for 150, they selling it for 750,000, damn near $1 million, right? And nobody can't eat. Oppose Supposedly they can't eat, but I'm not feeling none of this,
Right.
right? To be honest with you, um, we're still eating good, right? We can still go out and buy what we need to buy. Um, but at the same time, I'm starting to see a lot of these other people uh diminish. And this
Mhm.
all started, all of our manifestations and all the stuff that I'm seeing personally in my own life, this started back in, well, way before, but I can say 2020 was
Mhm.
the year, because we actually had an opportunity to, well, I'm thinking most of us had the opportunity to rest in some form or fashion, right?
Mhm.
And we had nothing to do but praise the Most High.
Right.
Either you was
Study.
working from home and study, and that was the biggest leaps and bounds. And now, what are we? Almost 6 years later, 7 years later, and we can see that none of the folly that's happening to these people is coming next to us. I get people asking me about, oh well, Jamaica got the hurricane, and they said, how do you feel about that? And I said, I really don't feel no way about it. What needed to be done needed to be done, and that was the Most High cleansing. And people looking at me like, well, your family's home was destroyed, and I'm like, and it's gone. There's
Mhm.
nothing I could do about that,
Right.
right? There's gonna be thousands dropping on your left and tens of thousands dropping on your right. And when Sister Romy said at the beginning of the show is that you need to start mourning, not even necessarily mourning, but you need to put it in your brain and in the front of your face that these people ain't gonna be here. And I can tell you firsthand, as I had a lady call me, it's about a month ago, and she said she need me to fix something for her at her house. I said no problem. So I had made the appointment the week later. Did I not get a call from her sister? And I didn't even know it was her sister. She said, "You know so and so." I said, "No." Um, well, she said she had an appointment, so I asked her for her name, yada yada yada, and then she said she told me she died. She just
Mhm.
up and died. I said, "Well, what happened? What had happened to her?" And she said she just went to lay down on the couch. One day she said she was tired and she just ended up passing. Right?
Mhm.
And to me,
Mhm.
I think she was one of the lucky ones because there's a lot of people out here gonna have some real fatal accidents happen to them and they gonna
Mhm.
suffer before they leave off of this face,
Yeah.
right? But we have to have that intestinal and I know what I'm saying sounds cold, and some people will be like, well, why you gotta be like that? I'm not being like nothing. I'm just being realistic in what
Mhm.
I'm seeing, and I'm keeping my focus and I'm keeping my energies
Mhm. Mhm.
high for the most high, and I'm not letting nobody disturb my peace, irregardless of what happens. And
That's a
even
fact.
though the situation's nice right now, for me personally, I know that could change at any minute. But I
Any.
also know that I'm not resting on my own physicality and know-how. I'm resting on the most high. I'm talking to the angels,
Mhm.
right? And we trying to do the right thing over here so that we can make it, because again, brother Muriel, first time I heard you, the man said we gonna scarcely make it, and that
Seriously.
stuck with me, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to be on the other side. I already know what it feels like
Mhm.
to suffer. You know, I know what it is to come from a broken home, not feel loved, to feel hungry, and we can go on and on and on and on, because everybody got their story and everybody's been suffering um through many different things, some to greater or lesser degree. But we all know we've been there, done that, and we don't want to go around it for that merry-go-round one more again.
Mm-mm. No. And that is all where we are. Like that's why we tired. We're tired of the
Hmm.
madness of these heathens. The heathens have sat back for ages now and contemplated our demise. And now we get to see that in their contemplation of our demise, it really was their own. And that is only fitting and right. And, again, I'm just going to reiterate this: the Gentiles are not the heathens. The Gentiles are our people, the diaspora, those who can understand, those who can be grafted back in. The heathen cannot. A heathen is a heathen, pagan idolater.
Bro, they're
That's just
rejects, man. That's why they can't be grafted in. They've been rejected,
right. Well,
right? And they've been
so are we.
hiding that for the longest time. But we here to let you know right now, y'all a bunch of rejects, and that's how it
Mhm.
is.
It
You're
is.
gonna show you through your. You're gonna show us who you are through your actions, not what you're gonna say, but how you do and how you treat us,
Through your
Right.
fruits.
right? This
Mhm.
is. I want to read something that I. It's a dialogue that came from that same three body problem, and they're having a. This is a dialogue between one of the main characters. She was a prisoner, and then she was talking to another prisoner, but that same prisoner she was talking to was on the other side where she was a soldier, and she ended up killing her father. But the dialogue goes like this: this is a new era, the past is finished. And then she goes on to say, the past is not finished. And then she tells her, you want me to repent? And then the other girl turns to her and says, I don't think you should repent. And then she goes on, then who will repent for me? Who will atone for what I have lost? So she had lost her arm, right? She
Mhm.
said the party had sent me to this province to work the wheat fields. After a day, I didn't have enough energy to wash my clothes. I slept on the ground, listening to the sound of wolves. My arm was infected with gangrene. The guards pinned me down and cut off my arm. Um, and then the woman goes to her and says, when I was young, I watched you kill my father with a belt. And then it skips to something else there. But I was listening to that dialogue and I'm saying, why does that sound like the story of Joseph, when his brothers had end up selling him off, right? And they both were in prison, but Joseph was a prisoner and then end up becoming the second to the Pharaoh. And this is what end up happening to the character in this series. But it was really telling when she says, I don't think you should repent. And then she says, but who will repent for me? Who will atone for what I have lost? And this is how these people feel right now, right? The Most High is working in the fields because they sent her to go work in the wheat fields. So right now we're seeing the um, the wheat and the tares scenario playing out, right? And it's funny
Yeah.
that when I start to watch a lot of these, well, I start to rewatch this thing, and not more than maybe 2 days later, my brother from out of Montreal, Yahusha's Music, calls me. He's like, "Yo, bro, do you know that they're having a part two to this series?" And I said, "This is what I was saying at the beginning of the show tonight. Is that telepathy, that consciousness, and Brother Sly had put it in the collective consciousness. That was what he had said, is a real thing." Right? Because I started talking. Well, Big Levi had put on a conversation we had on his show, and then not more like I said, and 2 days later they announced that this was coming out part two. At least that's what I believe. I could be wrong.
But
Mm,
excuse me, but the collective consciousness will be heightened when the electrical energy is removed and the electromagnetic energy is allowed to come through even more. So that's part of the function of the melanin in us, but more in part under the covenant that allows to activate more melanin function than would be if we were not under the covenant. That's why the 2/3 will remain that way. Because when the Most High says he's going to write the laws, statutes, and commandments on our heart,
mm-hmm.
he's not talking that physical heart that's beating in us.
Right.
He's talking that spiritual heart of a desire to want to worship him, a desire to want to learn, a desire to want to understand everything he's created, a desire to understand everything that Babylon was designed to do, which was to take away the positive use of our energy to worship the Most High, to be able to convert the energy to heal ourselves. Right now, melanin is the greatest converter, or what they call transduction. And what that is we absorb the spectrum of the electromagnetic radiation, including UV, visible, infrared, even high energy radiation like gamma ray. They're blocking out the gamma ray. Now, high energy radiation is stored in the melocyte, the melanin cells, and it will create process like similar to photosynthesis, which us getting darker is similar to photosynthesis, but it's at a higher level.
Yeah.
Because the more plants get sunlight, the more they become green and
The more they
flowers,
grow.
and they grow, and flowers blossom in spring and summer because of the amount of sunlight. And in fall and winter, flowers fade and the tree leaves turn brown and they die. And that's what happens to white, non-melanated skin.
So
So we're talking about a combination, number one, of being under the covenant so that this information can be released to us. Now, it's not going to work for the 2/3. They'll go out and absorb the electromagnetic energy, but they won't be able to manifest, because even if they did the 2 magnet experiment, they're going to be asking for things that's not righteous.
and also too, you need to add in there, they be still eating them swine sandwiches
I
and
mean,
eating
all
them
of that.
shrimps, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But us understanding This energy transduction, where melanin function in energy transduction by absorbing the wide spectrum of electromagnetic energy from the sun, it allows organism to use energy from sources that are not typically bioavailable. Bioavailable is them jacking with the food, with the pesticides, the preservatives, the additives, the bioengineered. That's what they mean. So we're not going to be getting food that's complete organic. So we're going to need energy from the sun. It also allows us to break apart molecules.
Yep.
So you got to have melanin, and you got to have enough electromagnetic energy from the sun, which is skin to sun contact absorption only. But you got to have the sacs to store it to be able to do the energy transduction.
Right.
It says melanin absorbs all wavelengths. So we absorb the UV. Their skin doesn't, so they get skin cancer. We're not, and they show you, oh, Black people got skin cancer. I don't know where they're getting that number from, because back in the day, nobody had no, tanning lotion or sunblock or sunscreen.
Well, that's who's getting it. It's those so-called Black people
No, right,
who are
but
putting on that lotion, that
in
whatever
ancient days, they didn't have that.
That's right. That's right.
So
When
there
we
wasn't
was
skin.
eating-
So cancer is caused by them not being able to absorb the UV radiation.
Right. Which were the lepers of old.
Right.
Hence why they had to put on clothes, and hence why they went to Mount Seir in the first
Right.
place.
Right. You're
Now
right.
it says melanin also interacts with high energy radiation like X-rays and gamma rays. So when we interact with these high energy, meaning when we absorb, the more we absorb, upon absorbing energy, melanin can move electrons to a higher energy state. Mental. So that's why when we're in the sun, we're more at rest. And so then it's easier to manifest. It would also, and I'm going to have to try it, is having the two magnets push the force against each other. And I'll speak some righteous stuff to it and see what happens. If I don't test the spirit, I'm never going to know.
That's right.
Right. And to prove your point there too, well, just I'm just looking here. It's Precedence Research, and they're saying the melanin market size forecast. So this is a healthcare category. Melanin market size forecast for 2025 to 2034. Global melanin market size calculated in USD is 152.08 million. In 2024, it's predicted to be reached to 300 million US.
Right.
And they're saying that the different industries that they use this for, transportation and logistics, aerospace and defense, packaging, automotive, agriculture, machinery and equipment, energy and power, consumer goods, chemical goods. And I'm just pointing that out to say that you're absolutely correct. The power within is within us, and we will see these changes
Right.
when we talk about those transformations. They will it's we have everything that we need, and us coming together and bringing it to the collective will help us move forward.
But the decoding is through the covenant, through the
Right.
wisdom of the Ruach. Because
Correct.
without the Ruach, I wouldn't have. So when you talk about chemical energy, mechanical energy is going to be cars or blenders. Chemical energy is something that happens within the body, like photosynthesis within plants. So apparently, melanin being able to absorb all wavelengths creates electron excitation. All that means is that we can initiate a higher state of energy and cause the electron of energy process to vibrate at a higher level. That's why we like rhythmic music. Sound is one of the ways to vibrate. When they say the prayer of a fervent man availeth much, they mean the verbal prayer of the male species of Yasharala. They don't mean just anybody. Nothing
Right.
in scripture belongs to everybody. Everything in scripture belongs specifically to a group of people under a contract. Under this contract, you're going to get wisdom. Wisdom will allow you to help unlock some of these keys. Melanin converts electromagnetic energy into a chemical process similar to how photosynthesis works in plants. Research suggests melanin can break up water molecules, separate the hydrogen from the oxygen to provide this energy. So melanin, what do you call it? Hydrates our body as well. That's why we can stay in the sun longer, even when we sweat. Melanin converts electrical energy in the body. Melanin can also be used as electrodes. That is those two little metal prongs at the bottom of your plug. That's an electrode, and when it's plugged in, even though the lamp switch is off, you're juicing energy. The more electrical energy you juice, the more you block out the electromagnetic energy. That's what it was created for. Melanin can be used as that electrode. That means we can plug into the electromagnetic grid under the covenant. The 2/3 got melanin, but they can't plug in.
They can't plug in.
People from India got melanin, but they can't plug in.
Because that's only for the covenant. It's only for Yasharala. That's why everybody's upset at us now, because they're like, well, why do you guys get to have everything? Well, you guys have had it over the last 3,000 years, give or take, So there's no like everybody, they have been saved. They were saved. The world has had their salvation. They've had their turn. They've sat around here and they killed our brother and then made up a lie that he died for their sins, just for them to sin, all the way to today, to then say to us, for us to feel something, for them to say, oh, well, we need to be saved. You don't need to be saved. You've been saved. We are seeking our salvation, ours, not everybody's. We don't give two rats' asses about everybody else. We're talking about us. And because that is what we're talking about today, and now we're talking about the melanin and how to plug back in, they can, now, mind you, everything that we've said, they've sat back and they've taken and they went on their little channels and they've talked about it and they blah, blah, blah. But because they can't plug into the source, there's nothing they're going to be able to say about this. That's why this whole time, this thing coming, this change of a situation that's here, this 2026 so-called time, they are in fear of, literally fearful of. That's why they're mad at Trump, because they were like, damn, at least you'd be able to get, at least we should have been able to eat with all this coming. Nope, be like, nah, niggas, we got to take that to our bunkers. We got to take our money to our bunkers. We got to do this. Why is he building this ballroom? Because he, like Nero, has to have music and dancing when Rome falls.
When Rome is burning.
Burning.
Right. Well, in the midst of Rome burning around Nero, he was feasting until he died.
That's right.
Like a fool.
Yeah.
Because he said the fire wasn't going to get him because he's a god.
Right.
The stupidity, the madness. And so even with this tearing down of the White House, symbolic of tearing down of America, KKKA.
The white.
The building of a ballroom, symbolic of the let them eat cake. You
Mhm.
know, who cares if the people are starving? The on again, off again, snap, on again, now it's off for the government, which is fine. Shut it down. Because if it's shut down for a year or more, I would write the IRS a serious letter and say, since any services hasn't been open, I'm choosing not to pay taxes until you reopen.
Well, that's next. That's
Yeah,
next.
because I would dare them to say you have to,
Right.
because you don't.
I mean, that is where 2026.
Biblical 2026 year with the 3 blood moons is not going to fare well for them.
No, it's not. Again, Judah brought out the fact that their almanacs ended in 2025. So think of this, all of the information that they stole from us from Teotihuacan from 70 AD to 1492 to present, right? Those 2 times they stole in 70 AD,
Exactly.
1492 to now, they ended it in 2025. You can't even make this up. You can't even make it up to say, oh, well, then they don't know what 2026. So because we're excited for 2026, for the new year, March 20. Oh my, oh,
If you think about it, the exchange of a situation, isn't that an energy conversion?
It is. It's all complete exchange. That's why I was saying it's the exchange. But if 2026 March is anything like 2025, 24, 23, 22, 20, 21, 20, you already know it's madness coming.
They would wish things were like that.
Oh my gracious.
Because it's going to get worse.
Oh my goodness.
As we tap into the natural energy field that the Most High created, that we used to operate under, the Erka Deshoy becomes stronger. As we call for the national prayer for Michael to stand up, you know, we are going to continue the whole thing next week, because I was supposed to be coming on next week, but we did this because I heard Brother Leon on his testimony that he gave on Big Levi's thing about, you know, this Netflix and how they turn the satellite to the sun to get the electromagnetic energy so they could supercharge the satellites. And it fit right in with the research. Like, how do we supercharge our manifestation? And I ended up figuring out that they have this electrical grid that's blocking out 100% of the electromagnetic energy, which is radiation from sunlight. Now, listen to this. Not radio waves, but radio waves from space or from heat from a body. We have natural radio waves in our melanin through the electromagnetic field. It cannot be activated unless you're under the covenant. Then we start to sense each other, and we can sense each other. But it will be highly activated if we can reduce the electrical consumption within the domain that's over your head. And again, please don't go on, turning off light bulbs that you got to climb up and reach. Leave that alone. But if you got a lamp in a guest room that you haven't used, unplug it. People have said that they've started that and they've slept better. From I started it, most of my meals, I found a halal, I don't know how, I found a halal restaurant that's Arabic for clean. They don't cook pork and they don't cook shrimp. So I can go there and get some chicken. Well, I ended up getting a $40 meal for $20 if I paid cash, no tax. I went to Starbucks that morning we spoke. They messed up my breakfast. So I got the money back, an extra cup of coffee, and the sandwich. So I got the food for free, an extra cup of coffee, and I got my money back because they first messed up. So that whole day, and that was the day before, is when I unplugged whatever I'm not using.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then another sister did it, and she said she slept the best she ever slept. And then she said she also sensed more positive energy from people around her when she was out in Babylon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
when I was talking, like I said, with Sister Keturah, and we were discussing, and then I said in the text, well, what's the worst can happen if you reduce the electrical consumption? You get a lower bill, like we said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so naturally occurring electromagnetic energy from sunlight or radio waves from space or heat from a body, it should say a melanated. But
Yep.
they don't want to say that because
They don't.
white people don't draw heat.
No. They always cold.
Right. And they like the cold.
Mm-hmm. They do.
It's
That is all
composed
true.
right. It's composed of oscillating electro and magnetic field and does not in itself constitute an electrical current. So there's no electrical current in electromagnetic field. What they're doing is they're taking the electromagnetic energy and converting it through using copper wires to create electrical current, which is dead current. So it doesn't create electrical current in the traditional sense of the flow of an electrical charge through a conductor or your circuit breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't go turning off your circuit breaker, because if you do and you turn it back on, you're going to surge and your bill will still, what it is
It'll be higher.
Right. So you want to reduce the consumption, not because you don't want to use electricity, but because you want to increase the electromagnetic flow. So sometimes you can unplug the microwave 2 hours later. Now, microwaves work on electromagnetic energy, but there's metal in there, and the metal converts it to electrical energy. That's why you can't put metal in a microwave. It won't blow up, but it will cause a fire. So don't ever try that.
Mm-hmm.
Microwaves do operate from electromagnetic waves, but it doesn't emit it.
Right.
It emits electrical.
I was gonna say is that you can see how these people are so damn crafty because everything you buy now got a little LED on it, right? From the damn TV to the clock on the wall, everything got a clock in it. Everything got, and I mean, even for me, from my job, most of the stuff that be breaking is all the electronics, right? These big old gaudy displays, even in the car. Right, they got these big old screens, almost big as a damn TV in there, right? And you can't turn off nothing. You gotta really, like Romy said, you gotta unplug it. I remember years back, Rogers Communication, the guy said, we can listen to you in your home, right? And the guy said, well, how you can do that? Because even when you think the TV is off, it's not off. If it's still plugged in, it's still on.
Right. It's
Right?
a monitor.
Right.
Monitor.
And so melanin acts as a natural electrical current when it's supercharged through the electromagnetic field from the sun, the electromagnetic waves. Melanin is supercharged in the melanocyte, which are the sacs. The sacs have to then convert that energy where we can oscillate, which is to give off the energy through words, musical frequency, blowing of a shofar, even the playing of an instrument.
Yep.
Because sound works on frequency and current. So the best words to use would be the Hebrew words, because that word in Hebrew will oscillate at a higher frequency, resonate with the Most High better than to say blessings.
That's right.
Baraka will resonate with the Most High. And a baraka is a small blessing. You didn't expect a free cheesecake at the restaurant, and they offered it to you, and it was good, to a great blessing. You don't shun either one. You must accept both as being great and fabulous, because you're not a respecter of, if it's not $1 million, well, whatever. No, whatever the Most High give you as a braka, you must be very grateful. You can talk about it in terms of the braka, not the specific, but the Most High is hooking me up. That's how you can say it. I'm seeing the blessings in the little, when I go out to order, I went to the restaurant, I ordered a burger. Halfway through, I saw pink meat. I took it back. They gave me a new burger and the giant organic strawberry limeade. I can talk about that. I'm not going to talk about a bigger braka because I'm not here to convince anyone on that. You got to work with the word of the Most High, and he will open up wisdom to you. Now, when I saw the whole thing with the electromagnetic field and the sun and 3-Eye Atlas, and I'm like, well, 3-Eye Atlas is charging up for a serious whoop ass on 83. However, it's bought out, whether it's a worse hurricane than Helena.
Yeah.
You understand? Whether it's a worse fire, whether it's whatever, whether it's them turning on CERN and it blows up on them, anything they do will backfire. And 3-Eye, and that's why, to me, they're trying to escape whatever 3-Eye Atlas got. It's blessings for us, curse for them. That's the best way to categorize anything in these last days. Now, our wisdom, oh, Daniel, seal up the knowledge until the end of time. Our wisdom is coming from everywhere because, like I said, they stole our stuff, dealt it out like a deck of cards to all the cultures, and we gotta test the spirit. I'm testing the spirit on how to increase the electromagnetic waves around me. So one of them, like I said, is going to be the magnet.
Right.
And
I think I'm going to use that too.
Yeah, I got to find the right. So, and I didn't know. I ended up AI. I need magnets without metal, and it said ceramic.
Yeah.
So who knew
that
there are ceramic magnets? I didn't really know. So that to me, and then when I looked, it still has metal, but it's less than the regular magnets that we have with the metal that sticks to the fridge.
Yeah.
So that's when I got to understanding that the heavy metals, which copper is considered more heavy than gold and silver. For you to use gold and silver to harness electromagnetic energy, it has to be 24 karat gold and sterling silver. And both of those cost a lot of money. And we know, just like the books that Big Judah bring out, when there's information or energy for us to get, it's going to cost a fortune because they got to find every way to keep us in a low vibrational state.
That's right. That's right.
So I looked up 24 karat gold, and the cheapest thing was a pair of earrings that you couldn't find because it was small, and it was on sale for $635.
Yeah.
And I said, they keeping that from us. But when I saw the turquoise around Big Judah, I had to pause. And when I did the research, I found out that rocks, and so even the rocks on the ground, will hold more electromagnetic energy. Crystals don't. Crystals absorb it, but it fractures the crystals. That's why you see those lines in crystals. And I always had the feeling that we should be charging crystals up, not the sun. Now the rocks can absorb as much electromagnetic energy. Turquoise is one of the best things. If you could get turquoise that's backed with sterling silver and you go out and get as much skin to sun contact, you could try your manifestation then too. You got to do it in the sun or maybe with the magnets oscillating, what they call resisting each other. That was a lie. So it also says through electromagnetic current, you generate heat. There's that thing again.
Hmm.
Melanin draws heat.
Yep. All right, listen, we got to it's 10:36. I started early for everybody,
Yes.
but we're gonna have to do a closing, and this will be part one, and part two will be next week. So we'll come through again with Sister Romy next week to
Finish this and
yeah,
then talk about the Day of Remembrance in December.
that's right. That's right. That's right. And we appreciate everybody, but I want to read this. Where'd it go? I want to read Ezekiel 36:23 through 38, and then we're going to call it a night, and we'll go out on a positive note, even more positive, even more grander, even more greater than we came in. All right, so Ezekiel 36:23 through 38. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profane among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Most High, saith the Most High, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. And ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. I will also save you from all your uncleanliness, and I will call for the corn, and I will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that ye shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Then shall ye remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations. Not for your sakes do I not for your sakes do I this, saith the Most High. Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Yasharala. Thus saith the Most High, in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and waste shall be builded, and the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that passed by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden, and waste and desolate, and ruined cities are become fenced and are inhabited. Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, the Most High, build the ruined places and plant that that was desolate, and the Most High have spoken it, and I will do it. Thus saith the Most High, I will yet for this be inquired of by the house of Yasharala to do it for them. I will increase them with men like a flock, as the holy flock, as the flock of Jerusalem in her solemn feasts. So shall the waste cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am their Elohim. All praise to the Most High.
All praises. Brother, can I give you one more just before we leave out? Just to
Absolutely.
back off of that. So this is a prologue. So when the Most High living power saw that his people would perish because they did not see the light of life, he chose the best of Israel so that they might make the light of life to shine before the sons of men. And those chosen were called Essenes, because they taught They taught the ignorant and healed the sick, and they gathered on the eve of every seventh day to rejoice with the angels. So peace and blessings
Hmm.
to the Mishpachah. Thank you, Brother Moriel. Thank you, Brother
Yes.
Sly. Thank you, Sister Romy. And thank
Yes.
you to the Mishpachah for everything. And I hope that we can continue down this journey together. And I'll see everybody on the other side. Baruch Hashem to all.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. All right. All praises to the Most High. Shalom, shalom.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that it will, Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that He will, who shall we fear? We got omnipotent, almighty Father, the Father of Abraham, the Father of Isaac and Jacob, the Almighty, why would we play with? He sent His Son for the nation, the covenant back in our faces. Y'all, He with us, don't care what we face. Where else we gon' go? We gon' trust in His word. Stay on that narrow, don't trust in no turns. Eyes to the east, everybody gon' learn. Put where your sins are, they all about to burn. Past overcoming, got His blood on me. Unforgiveness had to go, I got the love on me. All the leave, I got the peace, I got the dove on me. See the kingdom of y'all, I got above on me. Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that it will, Scattered for many years, now we back. Mind been renewed from this world, we detached. The judgment is coming by His will, that's a slap. The wilderness is coming by His hand, that's a fact. The ark of the covenant, I but willing, that's a spot. Where He gon' get us? It was prophesied in the land, you was sold by His blood, you gon' rise, you gon' rise. Babylon falling, it all gon' go wrong. Keep them commandments, we tryna go home. Before you serve me, go serve Him on that throne. Walk as He walk, I'ma walk, I'm a clone. Where He gon' get us? Keep commandments, He gon' fight for us. I'ma see out here the light for us. Ram on, blow the right noise. Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that it will, Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that it will, Almighty, 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 creator of His blood inside me, we know that it will, Almighty, 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 Zion.
Hey yo, Ren, turn that up.
Only a few of us gonna make it out. Zion, only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gonna learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. Only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. Only a remnant. We at the end and we feeling it. We the sand of the sea, but a remnant. Shall return to the word when they hearing it. We the sons of Israel. Our word will never fail. Baptizing in Jacob's well. Holy Spirit ain't playing for real. Will you get protected? He's sending them plagues. I'm trying to make sure that he's sending rain. All in my life, all in my head, all in my walk, all in my legs. You don't got that blood, you walking dead. Walk as he walk, we should live what it say. Only a remnant gonna be spared. Only a remnant gonna be spared. Abba gon' get us out of these countries. Abba son, let me see who really want me. Forsaking our houses, forsaking our money. We got that signal from heaven, he coming. Drinking his cup, nobody running. Flesh getting weak, but the spirit is gunning. We see the prophecy, we know he coming. We see the prophecy, we know he coming. But it's only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. Only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return.
That's how my heart hurts for you. And the sun, he died for you. Yes, it's true, yes, it's true. You didn't have no clue. That's because nobody told you. They couldn't afford to. Called you monkey like you Goku. It ain't like nobody owed you. We broke the law and they sold you. We did this all to ourselves, Jacob. Now it's the time that you know the truth. You don't know you so special. You don't even see what's next, though. So we cry. Only remnants gonna make it out of here alive. Please repent, my people, cause we at the end of time.
Only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. Only a remnant, 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 only a remnant. When is my people gon' learn? If you don't come back, you gon' burn. We Jacob, the scriptures confirm. It's time for my people return. It's time for my people return.